Johannes Gensfleisch printer. 1400 February 3, 1468 was a German goldsmith, inventor, printer, and publisher. UN agency introduced printing to Europe together with his mechanical movable-type press. His work started the printing revolution and is considered a milestone of the second millennium, first appearance the trendy amount of human history. It via a key role within the development of the Renaissance, Reformation, Age of Enlightenment, and Scientific Revolution, yet as birth the fabric basis for the trendy knowledge-based economy and therefore the unfold of learning to the lots. Gutenberg in 1439 was the primary European to use movable kind. Among his several contributions to printing are the invention of a method for mass-producing movable type, the employment of oil-based ink for printing books, adjustable molds, mechanical movable type, and therefore the use of a wood press kind of like the agricultural screw presses. Of the amount his actually important invention was the mixture of those parts into a sensible system that allowed the production of written books and was economically viable for printers and readers alike. Gutenberg's methodology for creating kind is historically thought of to own enclosed, a sort metal alloy and a hand mold for casting type. The alloy was a combination of lead, tin, and SB that molten at a comparatively temperature for quicker and a lot of economical casting, cast well, and created a sturdy kind. In Renaissance Europe, the arrival of mechanical movable kind printing introduced the age of mass communication that for good altered the structure of society. The comparatively unrestricted circulation of information, including revolutionary ideas, transcended borders, captured the lots within the Reformation and vulnerable the facility of political and spiritual authorities. The sharp increase in skill stone broke the monopoly of the literate elite on education and learning and bolstered the rising class. Across Europe, the increasing cultural knowingness of its individuals led to the increase of proto-nationalism, accelerated by the flowering of the AQ vernacular languages to the herd of Latin standing as interlanguage. Within the 19th century, the replacement of the non-automatic Gutenberg-style press by powered rotary presses allowed printing on associate industrial scale, whereas Western-style printing was adopted everywhere the globe, turning into much the only real medium for contemporary bulk printing. The use of movable kind was a marked improvement on the written manuscript that was the present methodology of book production in Europe and upon woodblock printing, and revolutionized European bookmaking. Gutenberg's printing technology unfolded quickly throughout Europe and later the globe. His major work, the Printer Bible, also referred to as the 42-line Bible, was the primary written version of the Bible and has been acclaimed for its high aesthetic and technical quality. Gutenberg was born within the German town of Mainz, Rhine-Main space, the youngest son of the patrician merchandiser Friedrich Gensfleisch zur Leyden, and his second married woman, Elswirich. UN agency was the female offspring of a merchant. It's assumed that he was baptized within the space about to his birthplace of St. Christoph. 8 per some accounts, Friedrich was a goldsmith for the bishop at Mainz, however presumably, he was concerned within the textile trade. Gutenberg's year of birth isn't exactly legendary, however it absolutely was someday between the years of 1394 and 1404. Within the 1890s the town of Mainz declared his official and symbolic date of birth to be St. John's Day, 1400. John Leonhard, technology historiographer, says, most of Gutenberg's adolescence could be a mystery. His father worked with the ecclesiastic mint. Printer grew up knowing the trade of goldsmithing. This can be supported by historiographer Heinrich Waller, who adds, in the 14th and 15th centuries his ancestors claimed a hereditary position as retainers of the menage of the master of the bishop mint. During this capability they probably non-heritable hefty data and technical talent in metal operating. They equipped the mint with the metal to be coined, modified the varied species of coins, and had a seat at the assizes in forgery cases. Waller adds, his family name was derived from the house occupied by his father and his paternal ancestors, zu Leyden, Zuberg Gutenberg. The house of Gensfleisch was one in every of the patrician families of the city, tracing its lineage back to the 13th century. Patricians, the rich and political elite in Mainz, were usually named once homes they closely held. Around 1427, the name Zuberg Printer, once the family house in Mainz, is documented to own been used for the primary time. In 1411, there was associate battle in Mainz against the patricians, and quite 100 families were forced to go away. As a result, the Gutenberg's area unit thought to own affected to Eltville am River, Alta Villa, wherever his mother had associate heritable estate. Per historiographer Heinrich Waller, all that's legendary of his youth is that he wasn't in Mainz in 1430. It's plausible that he migrated for political reasons to Strasbourg, wherever the family in all probability had connections. He's assumed to own studied at the University of Erfurt, wherever there's a record of the entering of a student known as Johannes American State Altavilla in 1418. Altavilla is the Latin style of Eltville am River. Nothing is currently legendary of Gutenberg's life for consecutive 15 years, however in March 1434, a letter by him indicates that he was living in Strasbourg, wherever he had some relatives on his mother's aspect. He conjointly seems to own been a goldsmith member listed within the Strasbourg militia. In 1437, there's proof that he was instructing a rich market keeper on sprucing gems, however wherever he had non-heritable this information is unknown. In 1436-37 his name conjointly comes up in court in reference to a broken promise of wedding to a girl from Strasbourg, Enlightenment. Whether or not the wedding really happened isn't recorded. Following his father's death in 1419, he's mentioned within the inheritance proceedings.